Social Club time. We ask you for your questions. You probably know this by now, but let's go through it anyway. On Twitter, @BallStreet, hashtag Ask the Club. We've got a question for every one of the guys present, and we're going to answer them in due course. Let's start, though, with a Villa-themed question, because James is back. Clavs, Maris and Miezis. Clavs, Miezis, yes. Good start, Paul.
Good start.
What would you like to take down with you? A bit of a mean question, but there you go.
West Brom and Sam Allardyce is Sunderland.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't like Tony Pulis, I don't like Sam Allardyce, I don't like West Brom.
Just take as much of the Midlands.
Yeah, just like take it all down and you know, you have your own little pocket of clubs that I can go to see then. Great stuff.
There you go.
Yourself.
The way you've got to be, Peds.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, not that you empathise with that kind of feeling at all in any way, shape or form. Sound okay. At Kane 1878, who do you reckon this question's for?
I think it might be. I know Kane, yeah.
Could be. What did you make of the Martinez out banner on Saturday?
Considering Kane was holding the Martinez out banner, which I know for a fact he was. No, it's what's got to start happening, isn't it? As far as I'm concerned, the man's done. He lives in a different time zone, reality, universe. He lives in one of them. I like the fella. Yeah, but the difference is...
Banners.
We were promised the Champions League.
We originated the banner stuff.
we were promised the Champions League. Where is it? I think, listen, the press are not interested. They couldn't care less. Over the weekend, we had Danny Murphy, patting us on the head, telling us we should be happy. I'd love to know if he thought that if it was happening at Liverpool. We had Gordon Strachan saying it was like 4 Everton fans when... listen, I know some people think differently or don't think social media is a real thing, but it is a real thing, by the way. And when you have polls of 3,000 people suggesting 95% of them want them gone, that says a lot. I mean, what's different? How different from that is when
if he wins the FA Cup, though.
No, I'm not interested. But
Alden, you say that now, right? But if you win the FA Cup, bit of silverware,
I'll be honestly,
and then you rebuild for next season.
What are you rebuilding though? You're rebuilding on the same principles.
No, but hold on, the season before, he had a good season, didn't he? Yeah, a lot of people raving about it. I remember a lot of Everton fans saying, "Oh, you know what?
And I was one of them.
He's changed our philosophy. He's attacking football. It's brilliant. Under Moyes, it was boring.
But we were still solid, though. We were solid at the back.
No, but what I'm saying, he might just be having one bad season.
Well, it's not.
Two bad
seasons.
Yeah. Season before.
I think fans have got the right to say what they want. And what was good about Saturday
was... they do have the right.
The banners came out before the game, and as soon as the game started, they went away. And that was the way we did it on Saturday. So fair play to those lads. The press are not interested because we're not a big story. I've had top journalists tell me that were not clickbait. They were his words. And this is a man who works for a top journalist who works for a top newspaper. Said Everton aren't clickbait. No one's interested in pressing that button.
Smack down in the middle, aren't they? That's the thing.
It's not even that.
I tweeted you, Ped, saying like you've literally got one of the best strikers in the Premier League for the first time in a very, very long time, and you're wasting that. Yeah. If you're not careful, he's going to go to a top 4 club.
I don't have to be careful. He's going.
Yeah,
but that's the only time. The only time journalists write about Everton is when someone's leaving, when it's something worthwhile, or when they see John Stones playing badly because they think that's affecting England or his next big move. So,
would that change under a different manager?
Yeah, I think it would. Because I think if a big manager,
if he's successful,
if a big manager came in or we were successful in any way, what's happened recently, obviously everyone knows, is we've been taken over effectively. So the pressure has ramped up. So people are thinking, there is money there now. There is a bright future if we want it. But not with this manager. It's just not happening.
I think the only thing I'd say is that look, the point Robbie's trying to make is that as much as I'm not saying it will ultimately change a 95, give a 46% swing or whatever back the other way. But the point is that and I'm genuinely not having a dig. Is that a piece of silverware could change a lot of mindsets, you know, and I'm not saying it means it's going to be fixed or it's going to be a problem. Like, look, if anyone knows about drinking the FA Cup Kool-Aid,
I'm telling you that, you know, the season, not last season, the season before when we won the FA Cup, it was the same thing that lots and lots of people were like real anti-Wenger. The minute that we won that FA Cup, they all sort of, well, not, I wouldn't say they switched.
It's a respite, isn't it?
But yeah, it was a complete respite. And I don't know, I think if he was to go on and win the FA Cup, you know, you haven't won something for so long. You couldn't get rid of a manager after that.
My thinking on it though, again, and we've said this off air on stuff, is that I don't think Martinez was ever the right fit for Everton. I think it was nice, and we saw it at Liverpool had Rodgers and they had Damon, they were these young coaches playing idealistic football. But that's not the Everton I know. Or maybe that was the Everton before my era. But and to be fair though, I was raised in all my best mates were Evertonians, and it was all the Dogs of War era, and I think that was too much the other way. But I think you need to have a bit of needle, have a bit of nastiness to you. And we've said this, is like look what Slaven Bilic brings. You know, again, he's got the Everton connection as well. I don't think he'd leave West Ham now to go to Everton, but that was an opportunity. He feels like more of an Everton manager than Roberto Martinez.
It's just gone. You know what? Martinez went down a certain path, and he's gone down it too far, and he can't come back from it now, as far as a lot of people can see. And an FA Cup would be fantastic, and I'd love to win the FA Cup. But listen, you're sitting next to a man whose they won a trophy, lost an FA Cup final, and then sacked their biggest ever idol. That's what you've got to do. You've got to be ruthless. There's too many Evertonians.
What have they done since?
They nearly won it with
that's
what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Nearly. But what I'm saying to you is, you also got to be careful.
Why do you have to be careful? We're not doing anything.
I just think that if he won, if he won the FA Cup, that's a successful season for Everton.
Yeah, but
because you haven't. When was the last time you won a trophy?
But as James is saying, is right. You know, the talent that team's got.
Don't get me wrong. Listen, when we played you the other day and I looked at the team sheet, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And then how did we play, Robbie?
You were terrible.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. You've just answered your own question.
I look at the team sheet and I'm like, I can't see any weaknesses in this team. It's like from top to bottom. Probably the only name on it I'm like is the keeper.
Did Arsenal get out of second gear that day?
No,
did they have to get out of second gear?
No.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. Go on, but we must move on.
I was going to say, the only person I could look at is Martinez. If you look at that team sheet, it's all you can.
Yeah,
so.
It's a great team.
Yeah.
It's not a great team. It's a decent team.
But put it this way,
your first 11 is as good as anything outside of the the super elite that's been performed. And to be fair, Leicester have kind of blown the idea of that out the water.
Do you know what Everton don't do? Very last thing, don't work hard. They don't work hard. No, and it's not because it's not asked of them. It's not asked of them.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Let's know your thoughts on that. The next question coming up, Nathan Owens at Nathan Owens 777, and I'll take this one to start with. This is a Origi or Martial. If you'd asked me this 2 weeks ago, I'd have said absolutely no doubt in my mind, Anthony Martial. I think he's terrific. I think he's an absolutely tremendous footballer. He's got pace, he's got skills, he's got an eye for goal, he's scored in important games as well.
Okay, all right.
Are we really having this conversation?
Now we're asking you now.
Really? Aruna Kone scored more goals than Origi in less games, so let's not even have this conversation.
What are you saying now anyway? What are you saying now?
Do me a favour, Tom, while I'm drinking this tea, put a Kermit the Frog mask on me.
Now, if you listen to what I said,
I'm only messing.
I know. Is that, you know, the point is that if you'd asked me a few weeks, there'd have been no doubt, and I still think that Martial's he's there because he's literally he's been the main man for United. The only any doubts on him is that it's not even his fault. I think if he'd been played centre forward all season, I think we'd have seen how exceptional he is completely.
Like Matt Damon and Good Will Hunting.
Like, well, yeah. There's just maybe they made a mistake in not leaving a random equation out for him to solve or something.
Just needs a big cuddle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not your fault, Anthony. It's not your
Fortunately, Rob Williams was dead, so
it's not your fault. But yeah, no, I think that what I've seen from Divock Origi in the last few weeks, we didn't even think there was a player there a few months ago, and all of a sudden, you know, he gets the nod in Dortmund ahead of Daniel Sturridge, ahead of Roberto Firmino, albeit one come back from injury. He was probably our fourth or fifth choice centre forward at one point this season, And you know, we come in, scored a goal against one of the best defences and one of the best teams in Europe, and then came off the bench and scored 2 at the weekend. And like I say, I'm not saying he's better, but
Klopp said he tried to sign him when he was at Dortmund.
Yeah.
So
Confidence, that's
it's not
though,
like
isn't
he's not a mug. He's just
confidence and experience, and just getting getting in.
He's only a young player as well, isn't he?
But the good thing is from our perspective is Martial. You know, your best players, the players with potential, actually come in and do something. Whereas we've all had it. We've all had those players. You're like, oh, if he just gets X, Y, and Z, if he just gets a goal, he'll be fine. And they don't get that goal. Martial made his debut against us, scored. You know, Origi's had some opportunities. You know, anyone looking at that last week would have gone, oh, he'll start at Dortmund and he'll be shit. That'll be the end of him. But you know, took his opportunity. Could have had a couple of goals on the night. So whereas I think Martial is still above him. I think the potential for Origi's there anyway, which is nice for us because I'm sick of us having garbage up front. He's damn so better than Christian.
But it's really important though for Liverpool teams to have a centre forward that works the bollocks off, isn't it? Because you know it drags the rest of the team forward, and I think Sturridge just I don't think he'll ever he won't succeed at Liverpool like he should have because he just can't work as Klopp wants him to work. And
well, you're right. Just for us though, you know. Having some enthusiasm up front makes a big difference, and just having a guy look at what Jamie Vardy's been doing for Leicester, and it's a guy who just runs the channels for you. You stick it over the top, he uses pace, he gets onto it. It's been a while. We haven't had that really since Fernando Torres, you know, or Sturridge, you know, a couple of seasons ago when he was absolutely on it. And you know, it's nice to have a player who literally just does that. Where we've just had so many lumbering big fellas in the last few seasons, who want to be doing all the fancy bits. I was looking at Pet, just the mood he's in today. Yeah.
I didn't lumber.
Labour.
Is this the right time to thank you for the 32.5 million?
What did you use that on?
Yeah, he spent that well.
Mate,
should have taken the lead out of Southampton's
the major bought himself a new wing. Or
I should have left that joke. I'm just like compromising myself.
You really can't make any jokes.
Yeah, I'm just compromising myself
in that shirt.
Okay.
Just been to Scotland, mate.
And Joe.
Oh my God, that's probably the worst thing anyone's ever said on this. That's blatantly worse than anything I've ever said.
It's a great shit, mate. It's just been Scotland.
Yeah,
Glasgow's a great
look
city.
at the beard. He's been chopping some trees down on the way. He's been getting some firewood ready.
Didn't get a train it today. Just been chopping the trees down.
Yeah. Anyway, Anad Joban Putra says, who would Robbie rather have? Only allowed one of the options. Number 1, Ibrahimovic and Xhaka, or 2, Ibra and Torre. I presume he means Colo. I only reckon, yeah. Who would you rather have?
I can only pick one.
Ibrahimovic is clearly in both options. You're having Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, well,
but who would you rather go for? Would you rather have Yaya Toure or Granit Xhaka? Seems to be the real question.
Oh, I'd rather have Granit. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Granit Xhaka's younger, isn't it? Yeah. Yaya Toure he's a fantastic player, but he's coming towards the end of his career, so it'd have to be.
Would he not
Granit
bring
Xhaka.
A bit of that bit of experience?
He would, but I just, you know, season max out of him. It's same with Ibra as well. I mean, I'd love to see Ibrahimovic at Arsenal, but I think there's no way Arsene Wenger would sign Ibrahimovic. I just can't see it.
Well, interesting enough, later on the show today, we're going to be discussing Zlatan potentially to Man United. But so you're not having. So you would go with, you think, Xhaka all day? I agree, but I think there's.
I think go for the younger option, but
look
I
at
do like Yaya Toure. He's quality.
All you ever do is go for the younger option.
Yeah.
True.
Look at the success Petr Cech of bringing an old guy in there.
But it's a bit different when it's a keeper. I mean, and plus as well with Yaya Toure, we've seen that his work rate and you know has really dropped. He's still got the quality. You get him in the positions, he can still do damage for you, but his work rate is non-existent. Yeah. So,
Ped?
Zlatan.
No, I'd have Zlatan
all day long.
All day long, I'd have Zlatan.
I think he's still got 3 years at the top, Zlatan.
I agree with you. I think he's still got a couple of years, Zlatan.
Well, we'll do that. We'll do that on the next segment. But like I said, I think there's a case for Yaya, but I agree. I think the thing about Toure is he's an exceptional talent. When he decides to turn up and actually utilise that talent, he could be a big thing for you, particularly
he needs another challenge, doesn't he? Yaya Toure, by the looks of it, maybe Arsenal be You know, sometimes it's all right saying, well, we want younger players, but it's getting the mix, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think Arsenal have had that mix right for a while.
Is he an improvement on
would you-
Arteta and Flamini in your squad?
Well, yeah, he's an improvement on them two, but I want to see us have more legs in there. At the moment, with El Neni, Coquelin in there, like on Saturday, you see there's lots of legs. They're getting around the pitch.
You know what?
Yaya
What I
Toure,
think's mad about
where would
Arsenal,
you play him? Is the
You've had no holding mid for years,
And now
right?
you've got all of
and then you've got two,
gotta get two.
but you've changed your formation to have two now. So now you need another two
But
to make
be
sure
honest,
you've got covered in the
if
squad.
you actually watch how El Neni plays, he's not. I wouldn't say he's a holding midfielder. He's more of a box-to-box player who gets back. That's what I mean. He's got the legs. He'll get back and he'll put in those tackles and that. Yaya wouldn't do that. Going forward, he'd be brilliant. Arsenal's problem at the moment is not going forward, it's defending. And so I'd rather a player who's more disciplined in that area.
Okay, fair play. There you go. Thanks very much for your questions. Keep them coming in. Tweet at Ball Street. Go and give them a like, whatever the hell it is on Twitter. Follow.
Follow.
Go for it. Do it.
Just
Go and
press
do
a
it right
button.
now. Check out the rest of the
Press
show.
a button.